morning, mateys. Welcome First Presbyterian Youth and Families. Thank you so much for joining me today for our next lesson. My name is Kathy Reimer, or should I maybe say Pirate Reimer. Do you notice anything different about me today? You joined me about a month ago when we were doing some fishing, but we're on to a new lesson today. It's lesson 8 for November 1st. Now, I don't know about you, as I'm filming this, in just a few days, it will be Halloween. Such a fun holiday, isn't that? Maybe by the time you're actually watching this, you might have just celebrated Halloween. And I hope you had a fun weekend, a dress up. Possibly you went trick-or-treating, but I bet you had some fun activities where you pretended to potentially be something that you're not. What kind of costumes did you guys wear this year? Oh, those sound wonderful. Thanks for sharing. Well, as I said, I'm Kathy, Pirate Reimer today, and I typically help with Wednesday Night Lives for first and second graders, but we're continuing on with our virtual lessons until we can be in person together. But on to lesson 8 today. Now I'd like to tell you what things you'll need for our lesson today. And look, a pirate's chest. Let's see what I have stored inside my pirate's chest. What do you know? Inside is our Sparks lesson sheet for the day. It's entitled Be Humble, and you found the right one if you find these smiley stickers up top of that. As well as what else you'll need is our Spark Bible for the story if you have it, and if not, you can follow along. We can take care of it if you don't have that. And then I also have in here some crayons, but if you prefer markers or colored pencils, that will work too. But you'll need something like that for doing our lesson today. So why don't you pause me for a moment and go gather those items. And I just wanted to tell you, who knows? Maybe I'll be wearing something different when you return. Welcome back. I hope you've gathered your materials for lesson 8 so we can get started. Can you tell? Did I change my costume? Am I a pirate anymore? I'm not, am I? What am I now? That's right, a cheerleader. Go Tigers! I actually was a cheerleader many, many years ago, but today I'm just playing pretend. I'm just putting on a costume for fun, like you probably just did for Halloween as well. Anyway, let's get started with our lesson. So, let's bow our heads, and what I'd like you to do is to repeat each line after me. Dear God, thank you for loving me. Help me listen to your word with my ears and learn your word in my heart. Amen. Okay, now we'll continue on with our lesson. Wait a sec. Did I do it again? I did, didn't I? I changed my costume. Can you tell what I am now? I have wings and antennas and some black and yellow stripes going on down here. That's right, I'm trying to be a bee. I might be a honeybee. I might be a bumblebee. I could be a wasp. Not sure about that, but I'm some sort of bee, and it's sure fun to pretend. And I will tell you a little side note that I actually ate my dinner tonight in my bee costume because I knew I was going to be working on the next part of this lesson right after I'd changed. And, well, it was fun to eat as a bee, and that was okay. My husband did all right with that. But anyway, so it's sure fun to dress up. And I know we just came off Halloween and had a fun time of dressing up being things that we don't normally do. You might have been a football player or a cowboy or a princess or a unicorn. And are you normally those things? Or were you just pretending? Yeah, I'm not a bee, but I'm just pretending right now, or just dressed up to do that. And that's the fun of Halloween. So our story kind of goes along with that today. And to just give you a little heads up before we read from our Spark Bible, what's going on, it's in the New Testament, Matthew, and it's chapter 23, verses 1 through 12, that our story comes from out of the Spark Bible today. And it's talking about, the Spark Bible refers to these rabbis or sometimes the terminology will be Pharisees if you read different versions of it. But anyway, Jesus tells us, the disciples, about these Pharisees and rabbis pretending all the time to be people who they were not. Just like what you might do during Halloween, right? You're not really a cowboy, but you're having fun pretending to be one, right? And at first that sounds great, because how fun is it to wear costumes and to pretend and dress up just like we just did for Halloween? But unfortunately, in this case, those folks weren't trying to have fun with their pretending. Instead, they were pretending to care and love God while they were fooling people. So let's get to our story. It's on page 312 of our Sparks Bible. Okay, so if you open up to page 312, you'll find our story, Be Humble. First, when I saw it, I thought it said Be Bumble, and it meant me, but no, it's Be Humble. Anyway, I'll read to us, and just listen or follow along if you'd like in your Bible. Jesus taught many important things to his followers. Your rabbis know a lot about Moses and the scriptures, he said. Listen to what the rabbis teach you to do, but don't act like them, because they say one thing and they do another. They give you many rules to follow, but they never give you any help when you need it. They try to show off and love to be the center of attention at parties. At gatherings, they like the seats where everyone can see them. Don't follow their example. God doesn't want you to show off or try to be the center of attention. God just wants you to be humble and kind and helpful. Learn from me. This is what will make you special. So here are the rabbis he's referring to, who are kind of the show-offs. And he's talking to the folks and say, you don't need to be the center of attention. Now we'll get our leaflet out and discuss our lesson. Okay, so now let's discuss what we just read about in our story. Oh, yep, I changed again, didn't I? Can you guess what I am right now? I could be actually a variety of things, couldn't I? I could be a doctor or a nurse, or some of you might know what we refer to as nurse practitioners or physician assistants, or maybe I could work on an ambulance or something like that, be a first responder. We have a lot of wonderful folks helping us these days with our situation, our medical situation. And if I get rid of my stethoscope, I very well could even be like a dentist. Something like that, because they tend to wear scrubs as well, don't they? Yes. Well, like I said, let's first discuss some of the story that we just read about. So in our story, we have some people referred to as rabbis. Those are like religious leaders. And the problem was, according to Jesus, that they were acting almost the opposite of what they should have been doing. Now, do we know what opposite means? Opposite, if I say hot, what would the opposite to hot be? Cold, wouldn't it? Right? And if I shout someone's name, the opposite would be to whisper it very softly, right? So these rabbis were behaving in ways, they were telling and making suggestions of how people could do good and everything, but they themselves were not necessarily living that right way. They were being very show-offy and want to be the center of attention and be the first in line somewhere or sit up front or whatnot. And so we're going to go now to our sheet of our leaflet. So if you grab that, we'll discuss that at this time. Here's our leaflet page that hopefully you found. That's entitled, Be Humble, Matthew 23, 1 through 12. What you do is important. And this also you saw on the page of your Spark Bible, this picture. And let's discuss a little bit before we actually do the activity, what's going on in this picture. Here is Jesus, and he's talking to some of his followers, okay? And over here, these are those rabbis that we discussed that kind of really were just being very show-offy and would say one thing, but then they would behave themselves in another way, just the opposite. So what it suggests we do on this page is right over here. What does Jesus want us to do? Add a sticker and color a party border. Did you find this little sticker on your page with the smiley faces? This we're referring to as a humble chair. Do you know what it means to be humble or kind? If you're humble, that would be the opposite of being real show-offy, okay? So Jesus is suggesting to us to be humble and kind, to make sure we treat others with respect and love, unlike the rabbis were kind of doing. They would say one thing, but they'd do the opposite. So you can put your little sticker on here of what we call a humble chair. And then you can go on and take your crayons, or whatever you have for color in this party. Because it's not like Jesus doesn't want us to have fun. He just wants us to treat each other well and with respect and love. Now here's my page after I filled it in and colored the banners and the balloon and made it a little more colorful and fun. So hopefully you did that as well. I'd like to take a moment though and share with you some pictures of some of my family that aren't dressed up in costumes, but this is what they actually wear at times in their medical jobs. This is my husband, Curtis, and he's a family physician. And here he is all garbed up, ready to do what we call a respiratory clinic. A lot of us are dealing with illness these days, as you've probably heard us talk about the coronavirus. And so he's taking all precautions to go work with some patients. So he has on a lot of special equipment there, mask and a shield, so that he can work with those folks and still be safe. Now this is my daughter-in-law, Camilla, and she attends medical school, so she's studying to become a doctor. She lives up in Omaha with my son, Sam. And these pictures were actually taken when she was on a mission trip a couple years ago. And here you can see her doing some medical type doctor things. I think she's doing blood pressure and then getting ready to take some medicine and other things into a patient. Here's a silly picture of my son, Sam, that Camilla is married to. And notice he's wearing scrubs too, because he's in dental school. He's studying to become a dentist. And dentists tend to wear scrubs as well. Notice there's his mask and he has his backpack on. His sister actually took this picture when she ran into him and he was getting ready to go off to school. I think that's his car door he's opening to head into his school where he's studying to become a dentist. Here's a couple more pictures, and this is my son, Ben. And if I zoom in on this picture right here, Ben is a dentist. He's gone through all of his dental training. He went to dental school and did a couple extra years of what we call pediatric dentistry because he specifically works with children. And he lives in Omaha. And look at those scrubs on there he's wearing like I was doing earlier. And over in this picture, that's me. And that's back a couple years ago when he was still in his training, actually several years ago, and I got to be his first patient for a dental cleaning. And that's what dentists do, don't they? They help people work. They work on their mouths and they help them keep their mouths healthy and repair things that sometimes might need repair work. This is a final picture I have of one of my family members wearing some scrubs like I've had on. And this is Julia. She is my daughter. She is my youngest of the 4 children I have. She has 3 big brothers. And she was the one I mentioned that took the picture of Sam as he was heading off to school. But Julia attends Hastings College, and she studies the sciences there, and she's hoping as well to go on to become a dentist. She's in scrubs because she works at a local office here, just with kind of some back work, lab work and whatnot, and so she wears scrubs around the dental office there. So I thought I would share that picture with you as well. So actually, I have a husband who's a doctor, and 3 out of my 4 children are working, either are dentists or working to become dentists, and then a daughter-in-law training to be a doctor. I have one more son, and he's more in the business world, so I don't have a picture of him in scrubs, actually. Look what I found! This is a picture of my son, Will, that I mentioned earlier, that's in the business world, not in the medical field. Will is an actuarialist, and that's a fancy word or big word. It means he's in the business world and does a lot with math and statistics. And this lovely person standing next to him is Abby. He's engaged to be married to her next summer. She is a teacher in Papillion. And this was taken last fall when they were having fun dressing up, I think on a Husker football day. She put on her old cheerleader uniform, and he has a leather jacket on. And they're just having a good time. So I thought I would share Will and Abby. Now, before we move on to the back side of our leaflet, I thought I'd just share a little fun side note with you about one of my favorite decorations I have for Halloween. And it's right there. I don't know if you can, I'm going to zoom in and see if you can see these little ghosts. One has a B, then an O, then another O, and an exclamation point. B-O-O spells out boo. And I got these many years ago when I was expecting my 4th child, Julia. And this little series was called The Boo Brothers. And someone had suggested, actually, that my husband get this because the first 3 are the Boo Brothers, okay? We had 3 sons at that time, and I was expecting an unknown. We didn't know if Julia was going to be another boy or girl. So our exclamation point ended up being, we like to jokingly say that this would be B for Ben, my first son. That would be Will, my second son. There's another O, that'd be Sam. And then Julia could have been just it could have been a question mark on there instead of exclamation, but she ended up being kind of a little change. So there's the Boo Brothers and Julia. But as you can tell, I love decorating for fall and Halloween. Now, if you flipped your leaflet page to the other side, it's entitled, I Can Do It. And it wants us to consider doing something helpful and add stickers to show what you did. So right here, it's like showing some cleaning products. And so maybe if you've helped your mom and dad around the house with doing some cleaning, some dusting or whatnot, then you could take one of your stickers and put it right there. This one, the notes for me say that it was like that we share our markers and things. So if you would share with maybe a brother or sister or friend some of your things and you're a good sharer, then you would get to put another sticker for there. And then the third spot allows you for your helper chart to just put something you want to create that you know is helpful, like around the house or at school, and you can color that in what your plan is for there, and then add the final sticker here. So this little portion says, Faith on the Go. Think of several kind and helpful things you can do for your family and friends and surprise someone each day by doing one of them. And then, I don't know if you noticed, I just decided to share a couple more of my favorite pictures of my kiddos when they were little. That's all 4 of them there. This one's actually before we had Julia, so that's little Sam as an elephant. Anyway, At the bottom, the doing necklace on this page, you actually did not get the yarn sent to you. But if you would have like a piece of yarn, or your mom or dad could help you with this, you could cut off the strip and turn this into a doing necklace. And I'm sure if you decide you want to wear that I will do it, that you can have some help with that, getting that cut off, and then create a necklace with possibly some yarn or whatnot. So how did Jesus want his followers to act? Humbly, kindly, helpfully, right? Yep, new costume. And what am I now? Down to my striped socks. I'm trying to be a witch. This is a fun one. And this is a real comfortable one too. So that's what I kind of like it. But anyway, what I thought would be fun for us to do right now, since we just did our chart about doing helpful things, is I thought I could act out and you see if you can guess what helpful thing it is that I'm trying to do. Okay, see if you can guess what I'm doing for this first thing. This might be something helpful to do around the house. Could you tell what I was doing? I was supposed to be using a duster or then maybe a cloth, so I was helping dust. Do you ever help mom and dad with that around the house? That's a good one. Okay, here's another one. Okay. Can you tell what I was doing? I first picked something up. Use your imagination. I have a few of these running around the house. And you saw one of them earlier in my video when I was still a pirate. My cat. I have 2 dogs. So I was pretending to brush one of my pets. That's helpful. I'm sure anybody would like, especially your pets, would like for you to do that, to help brush them out. Okay, let's try another. Okay. This would be appropriate outside and especially with the time of the year. Can you tell what I might be doing? That's my version of raking leaves. Did you pick up that? I guess I could have been sweeping something too. That's good as well. Anyway, let's try one more. Okay. I'm trying to be setting the table. I was putting the dishes out and I was pouring some water in. So hopefully you got some of those. That was fun. I wanted to zoom in and share one of my favorite Halloween pictures. I keep it out every year. It's of my 4 kids. Julia is when she was just a baby, right there as her first Halloween. And then Sam is dressed up as a Teletubby back in the day. And then that's my oldest in the middle, Ben. He was something from Dragon Ball Z days. And then here's some sort of ninja as well. But I thought I'd share that with you. It's like my favorite Halloween picture I think I have of them. And next up, I'm going to share my 2 dogs dressed up for Halloween. I believe it was maybe not this past year, but the year prior. So enjoy.
Happy Halloween!
Hi kids, it's me, Pastor Greg. I'm sitting here in my office at the church, and I want to talk with you today about the Bible verse that you're studying, Matthew 23. And it probably has some words in there that you're not familiar with, like hypocrites. But what that word is talking about is making sure that what we say and what we do line up. And so if you say, I love my brother, but then you steal your brother's baseball mitt and don't tell him, that's inconsistent. And what Jesus is saying is that we need to be consistent in our lives. We need to say what we say and what we do need to be the same thing. So when I say I love my brother, means I also love my brother. I hug him and I don't steal his stuff. And so that's an important part about what it means to be a Christian. and to live our faith, that what we say and what we do line up, that there is consistency. And when those things don't line up, that's when you get into the thing that Jesus was talking about with the Pharisees, where he calls them hypocrites. And so we want to work on not being hypocrites, but making sure that what we say and what we do line up. I hope y'all are doing well. I can't wait to see you back in church when we can be back safely. Thanks for tuning into this remote lesson today. Have a great day.
Okay, my final costume. Can you figure out what I am? Huh. Good luck, because I don't even know. I am a whole hodgepodge of different costumes that I found. I have a grass skirt, and I think these are polar bear legs from one of my daughter's costumes years ago. And then a Dracula cloak, like a vampire type thing or some sort of monster. Tiger, face, clown, hair. What is this shirt? This shirt is supposed to be like from 60s type times, long time ago. Anyway, but boy, it sure has been fun pretending, hasn't it? And I've loved sharing some of my costumes and all with you and having you figure out what maybe I am. So just some final thoughts before we say goodbye. With our story, we discuss like the rabbis, and in some versions it refers to the folks as the Pharisees of the time, that they couldn't be trusted to teach the people about God. So who were they supposed to turn to know and learn about God? Can you think who that might have been that did serve as a good teacher and wasn't just pretending to care about others? Who do you think? How about Jesus, right? That person, of course, was Jesus, who then taught his disciples about God. He taught them how to teach others about God. And guess what? That learning is still happening today. We'll start learning through the Bible and through the stories that we hear about Jesus' teachings of how we should be, how we should care for others, be humble and love each other, and not try to be show-offs and say one thing but be doing another. We need to learn to be helpful and to help out each other. The more we learn what Jesus taught and the more we can share and teach others in our own church communities about knowing and loving God, well, that's the good news for today. Will you please join me in a final prayer? And you can repeat each line after me. Dear God, thank you for sending Jesus to show us how to be humble, kind, and helpful. Help me to act like Jesus. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've had so much fun, maybe even a little too much fun, but it's definitely a good time learning about God and Jesus, right? I look forward to us maybe having another lesson down the road. And I also look forward to us being together on Wednesday nights for Wednesday Night Live. But until then, please stay safe and take care of each other.